Why won't my husband act the way I want him to? Not you. This is the hypothetical question. Why is my life not the way I imagined? No, it's actually better. If my husband would just change, everything would be okay.
Haven't we all experienced the pain of unmet needs at one time or another? Whether you've been married 1 month or 25 years, wouldn't you like to know how it could be better? Hello, this is Debster and Greg with practical and biblical tips on marriage. Because when you have a better marriage,
your kids will have a better life.
Our question today is, how do we deal with unmet expectations, spoken and unspoken? And it comes to us from Hunter and Chelsea from Aledo, Texas.
So when you go out for Mexican food and you order a sweet tea with your Mexican food, and there's really only two choices, and that's sweet tea or a soda, like Pepsi. When you order that and you take that first drink after about a handful of chips and it's unsweet tea, that is a major letdown. But you know what? Expectations in your marriage can be like that as well.
We need to escape the cycle of unmet expectations in our marriages. Let me give you an example. Say you're at a track and field event and you're involved in the pole vault. So you have your long pole and you go running down the track. You plant the pole, you go flying up, you do 16 feet, 3 inches, your personal best. You fall to the mat, you're excited. You jump up and down because you'd cleared the bar, which was set at 16 feet. You'd done your personal best of 16 feet, 3 inches. You're very excited. Now it's time for your second attempt. You go running down again, you plant your pole, you go 16 feet, 9 inches. 6 inches higher than you've ever done before. But this time when you fall to the mat, you're not excited at all. Why? Because they had moved the bar from 16 feet to 17 feet. So you hit the bar, you fell to the mat, you disqualified on that run. And so you're not happy, you're not excited at all because you didn't meet the expectation. And that's what we do in our relationships also. An expectation is a demand upon our spouse. A desire is something that is just a request. The Bible says, as a man thinks in his heart, so he is. So when we expect out of our spouse, then let's say the expectation level is here. And then they typically do just fine. But then they may have a bad day. I've had bad days. Have you ever had bad days?
I've had bad days, yes.
So on a bad day, maybe the expectation's not met anymore. And so now there's unhappiness and there's no joy involved in that.
Right.
Okay, so what we do is we need to, rather than have that expectation placed, if a desire, let me give you an example. On Friday night, I would like Debster to make my favorite meal.
Oh, okay.
And if I expect it and she does it, then I'm not even happy about it or grateful because of the fact that, well, she was supposed to. But if she doesn't, then I'm very unhappy because, well, she was supposed to, right? But if it's only a desire, if it's a request, then when she does make it, I'm very grateful because she was so nice to do that. And you're always nice to me. I appreciate that.
Well, you're always nice to me.
But if she doesn't do it, then I'm okay because it was only a desire. It wasn't an expectation. So an expectation is demand and a desire is a wish or a request.
You know, Greg, I remember when I was in high school that I read the book Great Expectations.
Charles Dickens.
Charles Dickens, that's right. And you know what?
I bet it wasn't as great as you thought.
Well, not as much as I expected, no.
If you've received any value so far, please like and subscribe.
You know, choosing to change the way you think about expectations and needs can go a long way to help reduce disappointment in your marriage. I would agree with that, right?
Yes,
Wouldn't you?
I
In
would.
Philippians 4:8, we read this. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatsoever is true, whatsoever is noble, whatever's right and pure, whatever's lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about these things.
Yes, it's an excellent verse. Let me give you another example. Imagine that in front of you there's a tablecloth. It's been washed, it's been ironed, it's been starched. It is just completely pristine, except there's one gravy stain on the tablecloth. What do you think about? Well, you think about the gravy stain, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we do that in our relationships also.
We do. Mm-hmm.
Is the fact that even though we like 95 or 98% of the things about our spouse, we concentrate on that 2% or 5% that we don't like. And then we're just very unhappy because over and over and over again, that's what we think about. Right? And so that's what we think. As we're thinking about it, that's what we're going to think about. So when it says that we should think about all the admirable, wonderful things about our spouse, if you think about those things all day, then you're going to be much happier, and then you won't even think about the other things that you don't like.
That's a really good point. You know, it might be hard for you to tell, but Greg and I are not perfect. But even in our imperfect selves, we made a promise to each other 30 years ago when we got married that we would never say anything bad about each other to anyone else, ever. And as we sit here today, we dare you to find somebody in this whole wide world that we've ever spoken poorly to about each other.
We don't do it.
We don't do it. The author Donald Miller had this to say about people and expectations. When you stop expecting people to be perfect, then you can like them just the way they are.
Yes, we know that we're each imperfect. I know I'm certainly not perfect. But when I focus on thinking about how Debster is such a wonderful wife and a mother, and that she's such a great mimsy to our grandchildren, and she cares and loves for other people and wants to help them, and she makes great effort to help the people, and she's so very smart. She's an author, a licensed professional counselor, and a marriage life coach. I don't think I have time to think about the things that I don't think are great about her because I concentrate on all the things that are so wonderful about her.
Thank you. That was very, very kind and nice of you to say that. Remember that when it comes to your marriage relationship, your spouse is the second most important.
True.
Okay, so you're wondering, well, then are my kids first? No, they're not. For a more fulfilled life, we should make our most important relationship with the one true God of the universe. He desires a personal relationship with you. If you're unaware or unsure of how to begin or secure this relationship, we've included a link below that will explain more.
So we're Debster and Greg on marriage. Please join us for part 2 of Expecting the Best and Getting the Worst as we explain where expectations come from as well as more advice on how to overcome those problems in your marriage. We love y'all, and we want the best for you in your marriage because when you have a better marriage,
your kids will have a better life.